My name is Ken Kasamatsu. We often define ourselves by what type of work we do, but I'd rather start with saying that I believe that I'm a loving son, a husband, and a father who's trying his best to provide for my family and at the same time trying to give back to our community. I worked at the Sumitomo Bank of California, and this is the type of work that I do, for nearly 32 years, and it later became California Bank and Trust. With a dedicated group of community folks, I founded the Pacific Commerce Bank in 2002. I retired twice, and I'm working with Pacific Bridge Companies with Stephen Kagawa's team, and also now I'm an advisor to the CEO of the East Central Credit Union, with the responsibility of working within our communities with specific emphasis on nonprofits. I also develop relationships with businesses and am supporting the Member Business Loan Department, which was recently established. I see the need to work within our communities to develop the leadership skills to make a difference in all phases of our lives. I do this by donating my time, my energy, and when possible, our resources to encourage our youth and our leaders to support worthwhile causes. Some of those causes would be around unemployment, training, mentoring, addiction, complacency, to name a few. By complacency on my part, I meant specifically that I was very comfortable in the position that I had. I had many people to delegate to. I didn't have to worry about a lot of the particular little things that irritate many of us. It was just taken care of. I also commanded a fairly reasonable salary, and I just felt though that I wasn't being challenged to do anything to make a difference. And I just really feel that making a difference, however way you describe it or define it, is something that is important to me. I found that our community, for example, gardeners, those other individuals that had relationships with the bank who had not really established their credit because much of their income was by cash, that they did not qualify for loans to buy trucks to do their business because of the credit scoring that came in vogue. So the ability of the loan officer or the credit officer to make a determination based on other than the credit score was severely limited. So I was bogged down on a continual basis, overriding decisions, because when you have someone applying for a loan that had a relationship for 15 years with no problems, you have to be able to make a determination based on their character, their reputation, their past record, that the loan is going to work, and particularly if it's for their job. Because I spent so much time doing that busy work, because I saw in my mind how the support to the community was beginning to be less, I just felt, along with the Japanese banks leaving California, that our community would be underserved. So that's why I took the chance of starting a bank. I envisioned that the bank would be heavily involved in the communities and in turn be supported by them. There are a lot of naysayers wondering out loud why I would take such a chance, particularly at my age and with the position I held at the bank. I really didn't have experience working in head office and doing a lot of the administrative functions, but I learned the hard way on the job and through seminars and just through day-to-day experiences. But there again, that's part of risk-taking. There are many different degrees of risk-taking, but in my opinion, it is doing almost anything that takes you out of your comfort level. I feel that the API community still holds true to not losing face and bringing shame to one's family. Complacency is also another obstacle to taking a risk, but failing losing face is still foremost. For example, I once helped with a workshop with LEAP. During this workshop, we talked about many different things about leaderships, cooperation. But the question that came up over and over at the end was simply, how did you get over the feeling of taking a risk, of failing? And I think it's still the most common feeling in our community, just that simple losing a face and the possibility of failing. And we just need to overcome that. I would like to see the API community, with a concerted emphasis on the youth of today, become leaders in government, corporate America, and nonprofits, to name a few. I would like to see our communities have more of a voice and contribute to being a major part of the decision making in all areas of life.